A train derailment is still getting cleaned up in Aurora this morning, more than 12 hours after it went off the tracks, injuring some passengers. We're live with the work being done.
Also, you'll notice it is much cooler when you head out today. Also cloudy, rainy out there. Lisa is still tracking a few showers. Jason, though, we want to get to you first. It's been quite a messy commute, not necessarily weather related, but just a lot of problems.
Not sure if it was weather related or a drowsy driver or something, but at about 2:30 this morning, a tanker driver going north on I-25 flipped over the rig right under 84th Avenue, and we've had problems ever since, unfortunately, because there was a huge hazmat spill up that way, and I-25 was closed down actually in both directions because of this. It's only closed down northbound. 84th Avenue across I-25 is also still closed down. Let me take you to the camera up there and I'll show you what's going on. So you can see this is the northbound side. It is still, they just allowed one lane to get open there. This is just happening right now. So one lane is now getting past this situation. So they're going to allow the express lane or the left lane to get past. The truck is already gone. They were doing the last of the hazmat cleanup, so they still have a little bit of cleanup to do, but they're now letting one lane of northbound I-25 to get through 84th Avenue. That's good news. They should be also opening 84th Avenue over top of I-25 here momentarily. So when that happens, you can see the drive time right now on that southbound side at about 25 minutes getting through there. But that's great news, some progress happening right now. Over there in Aurora, we've had somebody spin out on 225 right by Colfax. That's still causing delays. Alameda and Dayton, and of course, Abilene and Exposition for that derailed train.
A busy Thursday morning weather-wise. Things are going to start to clear up here within the next few hours. You may still see a few showers here in town. Quite a bit of cloud cover. Mountains south of I-70 and down and through the San Juan, still picking up some pretty good rain. So you can see these counties shaded in green. Those are going to be under an aerial flood watch today for more rain. We'll see some drier weather here. Skies will clear out more so this afternoon. 40s and 50s this morning with some light lingering showers early on. Slow to warm up though. We'll get to near 58, near 60 degrees by noon, and then highs will be right around 67 in Denver between 4 and 5. More 60s to 70s up and through the mountains. Coming up here in a few minutes, we're going to go from 60s today to 80s for the next few days with a lot of sunshine. I'll show you how it's all going to clear up here on our Futurecast along the Front Range in just a few minutes.
Want to take you to Aurora this morning. Side of some breaking news where an RTD train is still off the tracks after a scary derailment yesterday at Sable and Exposition, and it injured 3 people.
Denver 7's Veronica Costa is at the scene. And Veronica, this is the second time this has happened at that same intersection.
It is. 3 years ago, back in 2019, same thing happened. A train actually derailed at the exact intersection, like you mentioned, where yesterday's happened as well. And this morning, little by little, we're seeing crews trying to move this out of the way. As you can probably imagine, it is heavy, it is tedious work. We have more than 24 guys out here really trying to make headway. And you are seeing, as the morning has gone on, the train kind of move a little bit more towards us. Looks like they're trying to get it hooked up to one of these vehicles and then eventually out of the way. So that's what's happening this morning. Back in 2019, we know when that train derailment happened, there were a few things that RTD said they would fix. So we do know one of those was putting up speed signs. That's something that I've seen here this morning. We also know they said they would help better train some of their drivers and then help make sure that they know what's appropriate when there's some of that intense weather, whether it's rain or snow. As far as yesterday goes, firefighters, paramedics, even members of Aurora's fire rescue team, they were called out to help. It was a Tuesday. There were about 24 people on board. 3 of them had to go get checked out at a hospital. Back in 2019, things weren't as great though. We know that a woman's foot was severed. 5 other people were injured. And like I mentioned, at the time, RTD said those blizzard-like conditions, speed and operator error caused that crash. So we did reach out to RTD this morning. We know that they do have bus shuttles in place for people who typically ride the R line through this portion of the railway. So that's in place for them. They also have the train running in other portions. We have that over on our website, denver7.com. In Aurora, I'm Veronica Costa, Denver 7.
Thank you, Veronica. Meanwhile, the city of Aurora is down to 2 finalists now for its next police chief. Scott Ebner has worked for New Jersey State Police for about 27 years and is currently the Deputy Superintendent of Administration. He previously worked for the Cape Coral Police Department in Florida. And David Franklin is the Chief of Staff for the Albuquerque Police Department and also serves as law enforcement instructor. Previously, he was at the Texas Department of Public Safety for 25 years. The finalists are interviewing with Aurora's mayor and city council next Wednesday. Former Aurora Police Chief Dan Oates has been running the department as an interim chief. He took over for Vanessa Wilson, who was fired over concerns about management and leadership.
Well, this morning, a Colorado family is wondering why it is taking so long to get answers from Colorado State Patrol after a man was killed in a crash more than a month ago. Joshua Smith died in a motorcycle crash, and now his family is speaking with Denver 7's Patrick Perez, who learned the driver involved in the crash was an off-duty Denver police officer.
The family of Joshua Smith rebuilding his memorial Wednesday near the site of the crash that took his life more than a month ago.
He's very well missed. It's been hard.
In August, state troopers say an off-duty Denver police officer crashed into Joshua and his motorcycle near Wadsworth and Peakview in Jeffco while making an improper turn. The father of 3 died at the scene.
It's been devastating. My nephews have lost their dad. My mom and dad have lost their son. I've lost my brother. My kids have lost their uncle.
According to a crash report, it's believed Joshua was speeding and driving aggressively and recklessly before the crash. Still, his family says, and CSP confirms, investigators have yet to determine fault.
It has been 46 days since my brother passed away, and we still have no answers. I feel like because she's a cop, there's things that are not coming out, or they're just taking their time with the situation.
Kirsten Smith, Joshua's sister, questions why CSP hasn't yet released its investigative report or handed over any documents to the DA's office. A CSP spokesperson tells us the crash is still under investigation and the time it's taking is standard.
If it is just a ticket, she still needs to be held accountable. If it was any other person, they would have received a ticket as well. For them to just keep sending us in a circle, it's unprofessional.
Nothing will erase the pain Joshua's family is undergoing after this tragic accident, but getting answers may help ease it. Patrick Perez, Denver 7.
DPD says the officer involved was not cited as the at-fault driver, so the department never opened an internal affairs investigation. Both CSP and the family say investigators have not determined fault yet.
One thing we learned from the pandemic is sometimes it's easier to see a doctor over video, and a new study shows those appointments are pretty accurate from a diagnosis standpoint. Researchers followed 2,400 people who did a telemedicine consultation, followed by an in-person visit within the 90-day period for the same problem. The diagnosis in the video matched the in-person diagnosis 87% of the time. One local doctor says it's good for reviewing tests, talking about medications, and for mental health.
I think it makes people who may have behavioral health issues a lot more comfortable jumping on a televisit to talk about things rather than come in and sit in a waiting room and spend a half a day to talk to the doctor about something that can be quickly addressed with a televisit.
However, Dr. Joy there said it is not great for acute visits like for abdominal or ear pain because doctors do need to see you in person for an exam.
It's officially the first day of fall. In fact, it's tonight, and as the weather changes, the leaves change. A lot of us are enjoying the change in the season.
Yeah,
and
you've got your
the blanket
here
the sweater,
in the studio. I know. The corn mazes are up and running. Some communities celebrate the autumnal equinox today as harvest time at Chimney Rock in southeastern Colorado. There was a special sunrise tour at 5:15 this morning. A chance for visitors to experience sunrise from the Chicoan Great House and learn why these events are important to their ancestors. And then in southwestern Colorado, there's a unique phenomenon. In Picture Canyon, the sun rises over the canyon and shines into the cracked cave, lighting up ancient markings, but those marks only light up during the equinox. Well, we hope you get a chance to make it up to the high country this weekend to see some of the changing leaves. The colors have been beautiful, and just scrolling through the Denver, Colorado, through your photos Facebook page, you can see all of the golden hue out there and some reds and greens. It has us thinking about what leaf peeping will look like across the Front Range this year. You might remember just how colorful Denver was last year. We spoke with a representative from Colorado State Forest Service who says it should be another good season.
So things are starting to cool off and we're going to start seeing these color changes across the state. So I have high hopes that we'll have good colors. I think There was some decent moisture this year, and that does help improve fall colors. So the moisture that we've had we should have another good year.
Yeah, our digital team here has put together a complete in-depth look at all the changing leaves and the best hikes and drives you can take to see them. You can find that on denver7.com.
Well, it's beautiful. Up next, a major Front Range health provider is laying off employees. Why Centura says it needs to shed hundreds of workers.
Also, the Avs are back on the ice this morning, opening practice after their historic season. They're pushed to keep the Stanley Cup in Colorado.
And will the real Russell Wilson please stand up? How an Arvada man with a famous name is taking in his new notoriety.